Hey, it's Chris, back today with at least a smiling face for you to look at and hang out with during these weird and crazy times. And if you've been sitting there thinking to yourself for the last couple days, I wonder what Chris would think of the new MacBook Air. Well, wonder no longer, because all is about to be revealed. Apple's website says the incredibly thin and light MacBook Air is now more powerful than ever. Well, you know what? This is pretty exciting, not just to me, not just to the Apple fan, but to a lot of people out there, because this is Apple's most popular MacBook. And it looks like it's gonna continue to be the most popular. Real quick, before we really get into it, I just have to say, I've said it many times before, but if I wasn't a video editor, this would be my MacBook of choice, the MacBook Air. I love the size. Actually, my wife, who is basically our CFO, and who runs a bunch of the back-end stuff for the business, and who also functions as my manager, she does all of that stuff on a MacBook Air, and she really loves it. And fun fact, when we started Dailytekk back in the day, the computer that I got to do my work on and to run things was a MacBook Air. And then not that long afterwards, I got into video stuff, and I actually was trying to edit 4K video on that thing, which it could do, by the way. It was fully capable even back then. But yeah, the MacBook Air, it's a great thing. Can you believe too, by the way, that the MacBook Air as a line has been around for 12 years now? Wow. But I can already tell you, if you've been holding out for a new MacBook Air, this is the one for three main reasons: faster processors, better keyboard, and more storage. I mean, you already loved the MacBook Air, but this one's faster. You already loved the MacBook Air, but this one's cheaper. You already loved the MacBook Air, but this one is more customizable. All right, so Apple's showing me right here on the website, it's got a Retina display with 4 million pixels, which it says is an immersive experience. Now look, when it comes to the screen, there's nothing new here. It's the same screen, it's the same dimensions, same 13 inches, same bezels, which is to say, it's not a bad screen. You're not gonna hate this screen, not gonna dislike it, it's just nothing new. All right, you're gonna do some shopping on here, some Netflix watching, some YouTube, you're gonna do some typing and writing, some emails. For just productivity stuff, this is basically what you need. And let's not forget, text is gonna look nice and sharp, and you get that True Tone display. True Tone, so nice. All right, well, let's look at the performance. That's gonna matter, and it's gotten a big upgrade here. So the MacBook Air can pack heavy-duty performance into 2.8 pounds. That's why everyone likes it, right? Although heavy-duty performance, I'm not sure I really would describe it that way. No one's ever thought, hey, you know what's a powerhouse? The MacBook Air. That's not really what it's known for, and rightly so. If you really need a lot of power, you do something like the MacBook Pro. All right, so you can go up to an i7 processor. You know, I would not get the i3 processor. A lot of people are saying get the i5. That's my recommendation. I think the i3 is probably gonna feel a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish for you. Spend that extra $100 and go for the i5. So it says it can deliver 2 times faster CPU performance, up to 80% faster graphics and performance to power through everything like web browsing, playing games, or editing video. I told you, I used to edit 4K video on my old MacBook Air. You can do it if you need to. Now here's something interesting. The storage, it starts at 256 gigs, but it can go all the way up to 2 terabytes. That's a lot of storage. Now, I don't know why anyone is getting 2 terabytes on a MacBook Air. Please clue me in down in the comments if you're somebody who's looking to do that. But 256 gigs, that might be pushing it for just the low end of stuff. You might want to bump that up just a little bit in your configuration. Still, 256 gigs is double what you could get on the low end previously. So that's appreciated. Hey, before I forget, if you're looking for stuff to do while you're stuck at home in your self-quarantine, then you should check out our podcast, the Dailytekk After Party. We talk about all kinds of Apple and tech-related lifestyle stuff. It's free, so it's worth checking out. It's linked up down below. Also, check out applehype.com. That's a new website that we're putting out that will give you 3 Apple essentials every day that you can scan in 15 seconds or less. All right, back to the regularly scheduled content. Oh, and now we come to the keyboard. The new Magic Keyboard. So, I've been using the 16-inch MacBook Pro's new keyboard. It's the Magic Keyboard. It's the same keyboard that's made its way into this MacBook Air. And I can tell you, I really like it. I love it. In fact, For my old Mac setup for MacBook Pro, I used to use an external keyboard all the time. But for the new one, with this new keyboard, I don't do that anymore. I just go with this keyboard because I like it that much. Now, some people are gonna tell you it's a little bit louder than the old butterfly mechanism, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's not something I've ever noticed or would care about. So I wouldn't worry about that. But what you're gonna get is a nice, comfortable typing experience where you're not gonna mind spending a lot of time with this keyboard. And also, you're gonna get an escape key that's standalone all by itself, which is nice. The programming community really likes that. And also, you're gonna get those inverted T arrow keys, which is really great for being able to tell which arrow key you're pressing without having to look down. So bonus, bonus, bonus. That's all good stuff. You know, the 1mm travel scissor switch, I really like it. If you could put both keyboards, the old MacBook Air next to the new one and try out the keyboards, it would feel like a night and day difference. Truly. Oh, so the trackpad is 20% larger now. That's good. The trackpad on the MacBook Pro is enormous, and for the most part, I really like that. Every now and then, because it's so big, I'll accidentally hit it with my wrist or something, but very rarely. I would much rather have more space for that trackpad than less. So to have increased it here on the Air by 20%, that's really great. So now you've got Touch ID, so you can unlock your computer with the fingerprint sensor. That's cool. Of course, along with that comes the T2 chip, which for me mostly has been really great. The thing is, everything runs through that T2 chip, not just security. So if your T2 chip happens to go bad ever, then it can really be a problem. That said, it shouldn't be a big deal. But I'll just say, in my experience, Touch ID on the Mac has been great. It's great for shopping, for using Apple Pay. I use it with 1Password, my password manager all the time. It's super convenient. I really, really like it. Now here's an interesting thing. Apple's gone ahead and upgraded the speakers, kind of like what they did on the 16-inch MacBook Pro, except not quite as nicely as what they did in the 16-inch MacBook Pro, but you got more bass. What do they say? 25% more volume. That's cool. I mean, if you're gonna be using this as a media machine at all and not using headphones, any upgrade is going to be nice. And they also upgraded the mics. Apparently, I'd like to test that out and see how much better they got. I'm sure not quite as nice as the mics on the MacBook Pro, which you can actually podcast with in a pinch. But again, anything's better. I can't believe that they haven't upgraded the camera still. It's one thing, everyone's stuck at home, working from home right now. This is not an area where Apple should be skimping on the camera. Don't stick a potato camera in there. It's just kind of a disappointment that we still have this bad of a camera in the brand new MacBook Air. But I'll link up a camera down below that you might want to use. In fact, go check out my whole video I did on working from home. That has a bunch of accessories that you could use, including a better webcam if you need to stay connected in a professional way with all of your colleagues while you're self-quarantining. So that brings us to the port situation. 2 Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports. Now my wife's MacBook Pro, which is the older model, only has 1. And you know what? That's been fine for her. But if it was somebody like me, I would want more ports. I wish there was 6 ports on my MacBook Pro. There's only 4. So if there was only 2 for me here, I would absolutely be buying an extra hub to give me more port options. Because look, you have 1 port to charge, let's say, and then 1 port for external storage. Well, then what do you do if you want to hook up an external monitor? You see the problem there? More ports are always better. So I'll link up that accessory, some recommended hubs down below. I mean, just to state the obvious, this runs macOS Catalina. That's been a bumpy upgrade for some people. Not for me. I've loved it. So to be able to pair this up with an iPad and do Sidecar, get that extra screen, that's really cool. Just all the conveniences that come along with the Apple ecosystem, like being able to airdrop something from your iPhone to the Mac. It's just great. Now, Apple is saying that you get 11 hours of battery life with this new MacBook Air. And from what I've been hearing, my ear's been to the ground. I've been hearing that might be a little bit of a stretch, but at the same time, nobody is saying that it would be wrong to say that you could have all-day battery life here. So 11 hours, pushing it, but yet probably feel very confident in having all-day battery life. I mean, if you want to sit there and dial back your brightness down to like 50%, yeah, you're going to get more battery life that way. I don't ever do that. I'm one of those people that always cranks up the brightness to its full setting. And for some reason, when I say that, there's a certain group of people out there who just can't believe that. They don't like it. It's bad for your eyes or something. But that's the way I do it. And so for me, there's probably no way I would go and get 11 hours out of this. All right, so let's do what we did in the iPad Pro video. I'm gonna go through and tell you what my ideal configuration would be. Now, I'm gonna configure this as if I wasn't a video editor, didn't have to worry about video editing. So just regular, normal productivity setup. Well, the first thing to select is the colors: space gray, gold, or silver. I'm just gonna go with space gray. That's kind of my default Apple color. I don't want the i3. I'm gonna skip that. That starts at $899. I don't want that. I'm gonna go up probably to the i5. All right, so I'm gonna leave the processor there at 1.1 gigs, the quad-core 10th gen i5, that's cool. For memory, I am gonna increase that. I'm gonna spend the 180 and get the 16 gigs. Otherwise, I mean, there are smartphones that are gonna have more memory out there than this. Storage, I think for me, that 512 is probably gonna be okay. You know, this is kind of a light computing build for me, and if I need external storage, I can always hook that up, so I'm gonna leave it at the 512 since I'm not doing any video editing. If you can, you know, I would probably upgrade that storage if you wanted to. It's an extra $200 to pop up to the 1 terabyte. I hate running out of storage. It's the worst, and it's so nice to be able to travel, if that's ever gonna be possible again, and not have to worry about carrying extra drives around, just contain everything in one system. It's a nice upgrade, it's a luxury, but it's worth spending the money on if you think you're gonna use it. And that then is gonna bring the total to $1,379. That's the MacBook Air that I think I would order personally. You know, I'd love to see what your config would be, so leave me a comment down below. And if you guys wanna see a video from me comparing the iPad Pro, the new one, to this MacBook Pro, and helping you decide which one to spend your hard-earned money on, then let me know, because that's something I'm thinking about making. Also, I just wanna say, I know it's weird to come onto YouTube here and see your favorite YouTubers just uploading content like normal, like nothing's weird in the world right now. I just want you to know, I understand, and I'm working on a special episode of the podcast, which is gonna be coming out this week. This is gonna be the week, I'm gonna make it happen, that talks about maybe some things that feel a little bit more important than just tech and what computer should you get or not. So be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to follow at Dailytekk, spelled Daily Tekk, on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll catch you guys in the next video or podcast. Later.